everyone. I wanted to take just a minute and share some information with you as I continue to talk to more patients and review their medications with them. I find that a lot of the ways that I help patients, some of them, or a good majority of them, involve their over-the-counter medications. So I wanted to talk with you about that for just a moment. Over-the-counter medications, we walk into any pharmacy, we walk into a grocery store, and we have those wonderful aisles of wonderful medications that we know in the back of our minds the FDA has stated that they can be out there on the floor versus behind the glass up there in the pharmacy, because they're supposed to be safe for the normal person to walk in and be able to use. Now, the understanding is that they will be safe to use based on you reading the back of the package and all of that wonderful information. So I definitely, if you are going to buy something over the counter, please read those directions on the back. Because even though those medications are out there on the aisle for you to purchase all on your own, there are some precautions and there are some individuals that those medications might not necessarily be safe for. So please make sure you pay attention to that. But also, don't be afraid to walk up to that glass, walk up to that counter, and talk to that pharmacist about those medications. Because like I said, I find that I spend a good bit of my time helping my patients take those medications safely, whether they're cold medicines, whether they're pain medicines, whether they're herbals or vitamins. There's a lot of information that your pharmacist can share with you and find out about you and your other medications to let you know if that is or is not going to be a safe medication for you. So I wanted to give you just a couple of examples of what I find. And the first one I wanted to share with you is about a medication that some people take for their thyroid. Some people take medication because for different reasons they need extra thyroid hormone. And so they take a drug called Synthroid or levothyroxine. And what this does is it provides them more thyroid hormone, or any thyroid hormone. Some people don't produce any. And these patients usually know to take their thyroid hormone on an empty stomach, because they know that if food comes in, food is spelled this way, if they take it with food, then food binds up their thyroid medicine, and then it basically what does not get absorbed, it goes through the system and out the body without having any effect at all. And so some patients know that, some patients don't, and that's actually what I do to help them, is help them learn how to take their medications properly. But there's also something that they sometimes don't think about. Well, and it involves these wonderful things that we take, vitamins. So I love vitamins, and when a patient tells me they're taking vitamins, I'm really happy about that. We don't always eat the best and consume everything we need in our food, excuse me, so taking a vitamin is oftentimes a great idea. So that is a good thing to do. But I wanted to share with you that in your vitamin, there's usually, and if it's a multivitamin, there are usually these kind of compounds in them. They'll contain potassium, they'll contain magnesium, they'll contain iron, things like that. Well, I'm going to take you back to your science classes when you were in high school. And if you remember the periodic table, these kind of things were on that left-hand side of the periodic table. If you remember, it was like sodium, magnesium, potassium. You've got all those wonderful things on the left side of the periodic table. And if you remember, sodium and chloride made salt, right? Because sodium was positively charged and chloride was negative, and it connected and attracted to each other and made salt. Well, these are very similar to sodium. They're on that same side of the periodic table, which basically, science lesson over, means that they're positively charged. And these things are contained in most multivitamins. So when you take a multivitamin, you're actually taking and consuming very positively charged things. Well, just like the food, when a person with levothyroxine takes a multivitamin soon after they take their levothyroxine, then they bind very strongly, because this positively charged item will connect with the levothyroxine. And again, the levothyroxine does not get absorbed. They just create this kind of clump, and then that goes through their system, is digested, and exits the body without the thyroid hormone being absorbed and being effective at all. Or not very effective if it is absorbed at all. So for those particular patients, just something as simple as a vitamin can hugely affect the efficacy of their prescription medication. And so what I will do is I'll say, take your thyroid medicine on an empty stomach in the morning like you always do, but take these multivitamins way later. The recommendation is 4 hours later. So they can still take this wonderful multivitamin. I want them to. Just make sure that they take it 4 hours apart, like lunchtime or after, and they should be pretty safe. And that way all their medications are happy and everything is working well. So that's just one example of how something as simple as a vitamin, something as simple that you would just pick up in the store and not think twice about, could really impact some patients' medications and their efficacy and how well they're working. I want to give you a second example that might be more widespread of something that might particularly pertain to you, because maybe you don't take thyroid hormone. But another vitamin that we take sometimes is calcium. And especially as we get older, calcium becomes more and more important because our bones get weaker. And the recommendation is, I would say, let's just say on average, that you would need to consume about 1,000 to 1,200 milligrams of calcium per day. And so there are these wonderful bottles of calcium out there on the aisle that are 1,200 milligrams. And I had a patient the other day who did not have the 1,200 milligram tablets. She had the 600 milligram tablets. And she was taking 2 of them because she knew that she needed 1,200 milligrams. So she took 2 of the 600 milligram tablets in the morning. And you might take 2 of your 600s or even 1 of the 1,200 milligram tablets, one time a day, and think, wow, I've got it. I've got my calcium for the day. But there's a little important fact there that you probably need to know. Our bodies can only physically absorb around 600 milligrams of calcium at one sitting. So if you were to take that 1,200 milligram tablet of calcium, or you were to take 2 of the 600s, either way, your body's only going to absorb about 600 milligrams of elemental calcium, and the rest of that calcium is going to be excreted from your body. So you're basically like throwing money away. So if you are taking calcium, the recommended way to get the most bang for your buck, to get it to work and absorb the most of it, you're going to want to take 600 milligrams twice a day. So take 1 in the morning so that your body is ready for that 600, absorbs that 600, give it some time, probably at least 8 hours or so, to reset and be able and available to absorb the next 600 milligrams. And then over the course of that day, you will have absorbed the amount that you need, the 1,200 milligrams. Again, something as simple that you just buy over the counter. If you talk to your pharmacist, you might find that you get some great information on how you can take that medication most effectively and properly. There's plenty of examples I can give you. Herbals are another thing that can interact with medications. Cold medicines are wonderful for helping us feel better when we have a cold, but they can interact with medications or conditions. If you have certain conditions, there are certain cold medicines that you should stay away from. So it's really important. I guess my main point that I want to share with you today is, if you have any question about anything on the over-the-counter that you purchase, please don't hesitate to walk up to that counter and talk to your pharmacist about that medication, how to take it, is it safe for you? Because believe me, we look busy back there, but we would love to be able to help you out so that you take it safely and effectively. I would recommend too, if you have time, see if your pharmacist has time to sit down with you and go over all the medications that you're taking, including all of the over-the-counters that you're using. That's what I do. That's primarily what I do for patients all day long. And it's a huge service and a huge opportunity for you as a patient to really understand the best way to take your medicines and to understand what you should kind of avoid going forward and be careful with. We're there to help you with that kind of information. So ask your local pharmacist. A lot of times they're able to do that medication review with you. If not, I'm here. That's what I love to do, and I would be willing to help you with that as well. But don't be afraid to walk up to your local pharmacist. And I would say make sure you read the back of your over-the-counter packages. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to walk up to that counter and talk with someone about them. Okay, I hope something that I shared with you today is helpful. If anything, I hope it just made you kind of think twice about those medications. And thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And until next time, go out and make the world a better place. Have a great day. Bye-bye.